Welcome to part 31 of the 2018 NFL Draft and Review. Today we will be looking at the 2018 Arizona Cardinals draft class and inspect why I regard this as pretty much the draft class definition of why the Cardinals and failure have been joined at the hip since basically the late 1890s. And yes, they are older than the league, in case you didn't know that. So, the very first pick is pretty much going to get a rant, because this... I would say that this is the pick that broke me in terms of the Cardinals. I was born in Arizona, so I grew up watching this fucking team, and got pretty used to the concept of the Cardinals fucking up everything and anything they ever possibly fucking could. And it was this selection, Josh Rosen, quarterback number 10, that effectively just broke me. I couldn't fucking take it anymore. It was at this point that I went over to being a full-time Patriots fan, who I picked up during the Matt Castle-fueled crack pipe dream that was 2008. So, but this is about Josh Rosen, and as we see in the stat line, this is not good. He was thrown in as an undercooked rookie who should not have been a first-rounder. I don't know what NFL scouts saw in this kid. Career interception number higher than touchdowns. Put behind some of the worst offensive lines that were available at the time that he was still considered to be a viable option as a quarterback. And with some very bad coaching, but as we're going to see, I don't really think that Josh Rosen would have been any fucking better with a team that wasn't an absolute fucking circus. So, here we go, career lowlights, and right off the bat, we're going to start with a statement that kicks it all off.
There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I will make sure over the next decade or so that they will know that they made a mistake.
With that just short statement, Josh Rosen basically put a target on his back. It's now, okay, now it's not sink or swim, now it's you better fucking swim, because now you've thrown a few sharks in the water. Just the arrogance of this guy coming into the NFL was staggering. I have not seen a more arrogant quarterback since Johnny Manziel. In terms of his college days, if you ever watched UCLA play USC when Rosen was there, you knew exactly why Rosen was not a first-round quarterback, because USC took this fucker apart numerous times. I witnessed at least like 4 or 5 USC DBs that were drafted between 2018 and like 2020 that either intercepted this guy or deflected multiple passes from him. They were just feasting on him, and somehow that went ignored because of Texas A&M blowing a game. So, here we go again.
There were 9 mistakes ahead of him. I don't know if that was wise to say, Stephen A. Do you think
off,
Rosen will
pass.
regret saying this?
Well, yes, I do, because I think he's an idiot. And I'm going to say that now on national television to this guy who's supposed to be so intelligent, his IQ is supposed to be off the charts. Enough of this already.
I was on record before the draft last year. I just don't love him. Remember, he was the bottom dweller. He finished dead last in QBR last year for the Arizona Cardinals, who were terrible.
What do you think of these 4 guys? And I don't want to wish anything bad
Forced
on any of
pass
these young
behind the
men.
receiver,
Might end up most
missed
likely
him.
to be a bust.
Josh Rosen, he's a little undersized. He comes from a family of fairly have influence.
Josh Rosen, what kind of winning record have you had over the last 2 years? You're 4-8 this past year, but you're going to sit up there and talk about how, you don't want to play for certain teams. You got to be kidding me. I mean, who the hell do you think you are? You don't have the right to have that position. Not you. You haven't done enough on a collegiate level to be bloviating on that level.
Just the amount of these that are turned
I'm
into
going to
pick
go with
sixes.
Case Keenum
That's
over Josh Rosen.
impressive. He's not just arm punting. He's
Can Josh Rosen
giving
run
them
this
points.
off? Like, can Josh Rosen, does he have the skill set? He's obviously not mobile.
But people don't like him. Okay? And not only is life a popularity contest, but if you're going to be the leader of a franchise, you have to walk into that huddle, and maybe they don't have to like you, but they have to want to play hard for you. They won't have to want to lay down on train tracks for you.
Josh Rosen, 60% completion in college. It's going to go down.
Yeah.
It's going to go down. And things that work against Josh Rosen, not a winner overall.
Right.
He's not a winner.
Rosen, the thing that gives me fear is the tennis player mentality and the shoulder problems. The reason he doesn't play tennis is because of a shoulder problem. The reason he sat part of last year was because of a shoulder problem.
His durability has been an absolute question mark. He's got concussion issues. He looks like he needs to be in the weight room just as much as me.
That's all you think he's good for is a stopgap?
Mm-hmm. That's all I think he's good for. I do not think he's the answer.
You have to be a different human being dealing with the elements, and whose ball flight is more suited for that? Because Josh Rosen, I don't believe he can play in those type of conditions.
I think it would be more of a challenge for Josh to be able to create and be able to show a little bit more escapability.
His inaccuracy, are people going to be able to coach him up?
He's got a loopy delivery. He's got a whole lot of turnovers this year. That's what you're going to point to.
Yep.
I don't think Josh Rosen is accurate.
And so if he's a transcending quarterback, if he's a guy that you're going to put your franchise on his back, well, he's already telling you he's not going to be able to do it.
Is this your quarterback?
And this right here was another thing that I noticed several fucking times through 2018. He'd just be on the sideline fucking off. It's like, you're an NFL quarterback. What the fuck are you doing? Most of the time, your team is in the hole. Most of the time, it's your fucking fault. And you're just on the sideline with this dopey-ass fucking look on your face. Like, no. This went far beyond coaching, teams. Josh Rosen was a quarterback that should, in my honest opinion, should not have been drafted at all. I don't know how the fuck he went in the top 10. I really don't. I never have. And all the way up until basically 2021, I had to deal with people continuing to make excuses for this guy. It's like you have videos like this that just show everything wrong with him that is on such a high level that no amount of coaching or weapons or anything would have made a difference in the damn slightest. And I still had to deal with people making excuses for him 2 years out after he washed out of the fucking league. Just, no. This is one of the worst quarterbacks who has ever started more than 10 games in the NFL. So, next we have probably the only reason that this class isn't going to get an F, which is basically the exact same grade I gave it when they picked it, and that is wide receiver Christian Kirk. And honestly, I can take this moment to ridicule the Cardinals again. Because not only did you draft a potential number one receiver, you failed to develop him and then let him go, and then boom, breakout season with the Jaguars. Gets himself a solid quarterback, gets himself a better situation to be in. Less pretense of worse receivers being better than him, like in Arizona, of A.J. Green, players like that, washed up DeAndre Hopkins. So, yeah, I'll ridicule the Cardinals again on this one. They should not have let him go. They should have utilized him better. And they're now going to pay the price because A.J. Green's retired, DeAndre Hopkins might get traded, none of the young receivers have shown they're worth shit. So, congratulations to Cardinals management, you fucked your quarterbacks going about the next 5 years.
Second-year lead. We'll watch that closely with Lawrence. Protected, throws, middle of the field, catch made, flag down, and zooming is Christian Kirk to midfield. Against the Jets, and has worked his way back. Fake to him, Lawrence. Deep for Christian Kirk. He's got it inside the 20 of Washington. What a connection from Trevor Lawrence. Started to fall a little harder. Lawrence out of the gun, drops back to pass middle of the field. Christian Kirk toward the goal line. Dan Arnold in motion for the Jaguars. Off the play fake. Lawrence steps up in the pocket. He can.
Y'all don't understand how funny this is for me to watch. Cardinals are always letting players like this out the door. It's.
Lawrence again underneath to Kirk. He had a linebacker, and he's able to beat that linebacker inside the 30-yard line.
It's honestly absurd.
Two receivers left. Robinson in the backfield. They fake the pitch. Lawrence to run or throw. He's going to throw. He's got.
Still has it. With time, throwing, got his man inside the 40, to the 30, to the 25. Christian Kirk is out of bounds there. Where's a
situation where Peterson likes to slip that play in there and confuse your eyes.
14th play of this drive. The pass to the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. Christian Kirk.
Blitzes when they don't know they're coming, that's what makes it really hard. Or does Lawrence go here? Feeling the pressure, throws on third down. Wide open, it's Kirk. Inside the... Everybody crowd the line to try to stop the run.
Lawrence throws, end zone, touchdown!
Yeah, he's a receiver that if you just utilize him properly, you could get a lot out of him. And Cardinals didn't let the Jaguars do it. And frankly, when you're getting beaten by the Jacksonville Jaguars on really basically anything concerning player development, you need to seriously reevaluate what you are doing. So, the third selection was center Mason Cole, and this guy has been part of some of the worst offensive lines I've seen in recent memory, so that should tell you about what I'm about to say. The guy's just... he just isn't it. You know, he's started a good chunk of games through 3 years of Arizona, 1 year of Minnesota, and 1 year with Pittsburgh. And generally speaking, the team's offensive lines have not been good. You know, there's a certain point where it comes down to, are you part of the problem? And I think Mason Cole is. He's just not a valuable player in my eyes. It's just... He's good enough to keep getting starting jobs, I guess, but it seems to be with teams that are starved for offensive linemen, you know? He couldn't even start a full season or play a full season with Minnesota, and their offensive line has been garbage for years. Same story in Arizona in his second season. Terrible offensive line. Just played 16 games, only started 2 of them. It's just... as long as there are teams that have bad offensive lines, you'll probably see Mason Cole be a starter, but that's about the extent of what I can say for him. Next we have 4th round running back Chase Edmonds. And Chase Edmonds is one of the weird players that did better with the Cardinals than he's done anywhere else. He's now playing for the Buccaneers after having a lackluster season between Denver and Miami. After having some, at least, respectable use for the Cardinals as a backup running back slash majority starter in at least 2021. But again, that offensive line comes back into play, as we see. He never really does better than 592 yards. He has a 400-yard receiving season in 2020, but, there's better running backs in this league for this sort of thing, he doesn't seem to be the guy you give the ball to 25 times a game, plus maybe, 5 targets in the passing game every game. And thus, he's just kind of that low to medium end backup sort of player that if you've got to play him, there's a chance he might have a good game, but there's an equal chance that he won't do anything whatsoever. So, and this coincides with the Cardinals' running game issue that they've had since Edgerrin James retired. Edgerrin James was basically the last running back that did anything for this team. So it's just, no. It's not a horrible pick, but it's not anything special either. And that brings us to the last 2 selections, which get the Cardinals even more ridiculed, because not only did these players not do anything, they did nothing from units that weren't good to begin with. The first is cornerback Christian Campbell, and this guy was a career practice squatter in the NFL. And with the Cardinals, this was during a time when the secondary was basically, what the hell's his name? Patrick Peterson. The secondary was basically entirely Patrick Peterson. There was no one else worth a damn in that secondary, and he couldn't get off the practice squad. Yeah, he couldn't even get off the practice squad in the Canadian Football League, and he has since been cut in the USFL. So, like I said, this is just a bad pick. Seen it coming, too. And finally, we have guard Corey Cunningham, that I think they've promptly flipped to tackle, and he is presently running as a just barely not a practice squad sort of player. Yeah, he's played in 30 games, started 6, but not obviously good enough for anyone to keep him seemingly more than 2 years. So, like I said, I was absolutely furious with this class. I said enough is enough with this team not long after. And I have basically been proven correct by this class. The only player of real note that has come out of this is Christian Kirk. There have been 2 laughable players, a starter for crappy teams, and some nobodies for the rest of the class. So, like I said, this basically just comes up from pretty much anything lower than an F that may exist to maybe a D-. That's the most I will give this class. It was terrible. This is the sort of thing that the Cardinals have had going for way too fucking long. I think the asshole responsible for this drunk driving fucking asshole hat, he was eventually allowed to resign with his dignity. Fucking fire a guy like this! It's like, what the fuck? That is ultimately where I see the main issue, the ownership of this team. The Bidwills are fucking idiots. There's a lot of teams out there where their fans would in jest say, oh, I could do better than the ownership. I could do better than the management. No, the Cardinals, any fan saying that demonstrates even the faintest fucking drop of football IQ could probably do better than the Bidwills and the dumb bastards they hire to be GM of this football team. So, you can consider this a roast of the Cardinals. You could probably expect more in the future. I will never pass up an opportunity to shit on this organization. But that is going to do it for today. Tomorrow we'll be doing the Seattle Seahawks, which will be, of course, the final team of this initial series. After that, I'll probably start delving into 2023's free agency and get ready for the 2023 draft analysis. So, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share the video. Hit the notification bell to see when I post videos in the future, and follow me on Twitter. So, I will see you tomorrow.